From Qatar to Grimsby. Most people would say it's a downgrade, except me. Hi guys, my name is Haz and today we're in Grimsby. We're about to show you one of our properties that we sourced for an investor for an amazing price of £55,000. The done-up value for this property is £85,000. Let's go inside and take a look. So Grimsby is a great location for those who are either new to property investment or they've got maybe a smaller budget because the barrier to entry is not that high. As you can see as you walk in, it's not in a terrible condition as it is. It wasn't an easy task to find a property like this because in property, you want to try and find the worst property on the best street. So we had to work quite hard to find this, but we did find this one in the end. There was a bit of negotiation back and forth. In the end, they did secure it for £55,000 and the refurb on it is only going to be £8,000, right? Now, whoever previously used to have this property obviously liked the color blue. We're just going to make it nice, whitewash it, get everything up and bright, ready again. But my wife is the real killer when it comes to interior design. We're going to meet her later on. We're going to tidy up the garden, make it nice and low maintenance, get rid of all the weeds. When we have guests that come to us, we try and retain them. We offer them discounts to come back. And obviously when we do the property up, we do it to a very high standard. So we're attracting the most amount of clientele that we can. So for the investors, we offer them an end-to-end service where we find them the property and we charge them a finder's fee of £3,000. And then if they want to go further and use our services to do it as an Airbnb, then we charge them a monthly management fee of 15% of the net revenue. So they keep 85%, they're happy. We take a 15% monthly management fee and we manage everything, the end-to-end from the organization, the revenue management, we do everything and they don't have to lift a finger. So now we're going to take you to another property that we've done for another investor. I think you're going to like this one, so let's go over now and take a look. So the next property we're going to is a property that we sourced for the investor. It was on the market for £110,000. We secured it for 92.5k, so there's a 17.5k saving there. And they spent around £40,000 on the refurb. And the done-up value now is £170,000. So right now, it's all cash investments. The reason they currently have the money left in the project as cash is, as a Muslim, and he's a Muslim, we don't use interest, right? We don't use the high street typical banking products where they charge interest. But there are a lot of mechanisms to leverage money and to do joint ventures, which is okay. So there's no interest involved in this model. And what's interesting is Samuel is the one who taught me about this model because at the time, I thought there might be a limitation in terms of what I can do in property. And that's the message I was getting from all these other property trainers. The nice thing about Samuel Leeds is that he's so well-rounded in the property space, he was able to discuss this joint venture approach and we're doing this now. And we're going to also show you this property today. This is a 3-bed, semi-detached house in this case. It's got 2 reception rooms and we did this project from start to finish, right? So what you can see now is the end product. We've tried to go for a more premium feel in this property. When we furnished the property for Airbnb, we tried to go for a look and feel which would basically feel a bit more premium, right? So we can charge a bit more on the nightly rates. So on average, we're doing about £120 per night. And so far, it's been a very strong performing property. On average, it's been making around £3,500 revenue per calendar month. So the investor's very, very happy with this. He's got again, we're doing another project for them now. And the sky's the limit, right? There's so many properties out here. Going that extra mile and making a property stand out a little bit more will pay a lot of dividends on your back end when it comes to how much money you're going to make as revenue. This property, so far, we launched this one in July, and so far we've had around a 95% occupancy rate. Mostly contractors, but you get a lot of families as well. You got people relocating to the area. However, when you get them bookings initially, the key and the trick is to try and retain them for future stays. And you want to try and get as many direct bookings as you can. That's more money in your back pocket. My wife helps a lot when it comes to the interior design element, right? She's got a good eye for detail, smashes it out of the park when it comes to that department. You wanna come down? We need to get you mic'd up. Yeah? All right. Wife's upstairs just preparing the final touches. All right, guys. So this is my lovely wife, Dania.
Hello.
She's been a big support for me in the business. Like I said, she's amazing when it comes to interior design.
So I've always liked interior design, especially when we lived in Qatar, because everything there is so extravagant, big. So obviously moving back here, it's like I've learned some certain things like touches, etc. I've always liked it. I've always enjoyed it as well. It's really fun.
Over here, like I said, we normally try and get like a feature wall. You know, she really adds a lot of value there. You can see we're now a guest favorite, top 10% of homes. That goes to show, like, I can say whatever I want to say, but it shows that even the external companies, they are ranking a property quite high. And the nice thing is, once you do get that badge on Airbnb, the algorithm pushes you out even further. So it's like a positive recurring cycle, right?
So there's no harm in experimenting. I think you do learn as you go along. So for example, in terms of colour schemes, in terms of furniture, in terms of everything, just experiment as you go along.
So for me, I was obviously in Qatar. We were living there for a few years and it was comfortable. It was a beautiful lifestyle. We both loved it. But there was always a desire to do something beyond the world of employment, and property was the answer to it. So we made the difficult decision to come back to the UK to start a property business. But Daniel made one condition, and that was, don't take me to London.
London's just too busy for me.
Yeah.
So, but I really didn't want to leave Qatar. Qatar for me was, you know, home. It was beautiful, friends, the lifestyle there, the safety, everything. So, yeah.
But you're happy now in Grimsby?
I'm happy now, close to family, and you know, friends. It's easy, you know.
And that's actually that's a business tip, right? You want to look for win-wins. So she's happy. That's a major win, and then I'm happy because you get to do property in Grimsby. So everyone's happy, and yeah, all good.
Happy wife, happy life.
Yeah. What's it like, kind of having your dad and your husband kind of like working together in business?
It's nice because I've seen their relationship completely grow. When we got married, we moved straight to Qatar. So even though there was a relationship there, moving back and then working together, it really has blossomed.
Like a friendship.
Like a friendship. It's more than it's more of a friendship than father and son-in-law, which is really nice. It's a blessing basically, because not a lot of people have that sort of relationship with their in-laws. So no, it is really nice. I do enjoy it, especially when they both gang up on me. And I always say to my dad, oh, does Haz need a lawyer, or to Haz, does my dad need a lawyer? So no, it is really nice.
I met my wife about 6 years ago, and we're both from the same ethnicity. We're both Palestinian of origin. So it's quite a small community in the UK. So I got to know her and her family. And a few months after that, that's when I got the opportunity and the offer to move to Qatar. So I went out there for 5 years. They definitely did work us quite hard in Qatar. And generally, there is a lot of intensity to it. And for me, I wanted more from life, right? It wasn't just the financial element. The salary was good, the lifestyle was amazing. But the one thing missing was your actual time freedom. But whilst it was hard to turn away from that corporate life, especially I'd spent the best part of a decade building up to that stage, it was also a non-brainer for me. I wanted to do something different. It was the right time. I wanted to pivot. I quit my job in August 2023. I had a 2 months clause where I had to give them a notice period. And in that notice period, I came back to the UK and I said, okay, let me try and find my first property. I was in the UK for 10 days, so I spent that 10 days furnishing that property, getting it all ready. Then I had to fly back out to Qatar. And over the next few weeks, I realized that I was operating this property whilst I was 2,000 miles away. And it hit me that, okay, this model is really scalable. You don't have to be on the ground to be able to do it. And I put an initial target of I want to get 12 properties in the first 12 months. And thankfully, we met that target. So today we've got 25 properties that we're operating. Every new property gets a bit easier and it gets a bit easier. Now we're off to a 7-bed HMO property. This property, we've not started the refurb properly yet, so you're going to see it as it is currently now, and then we're going to show you or talk to you about what we want to do with that property. You're right, Mr. Busy. How you doing? Okay. All right, so now I'm with my lovely father-in-law, the head boss when it comes to the refurbishment, Mr. Mahmood. Yes, so this is a 6-bed HMO. It's actually a 7-bed property, but licensed for 6 people. We bought this with one of my friends who's an investor from abroad, and it's a 50-50 joint venture split, but we've still not had the time to really start on it. This one, hopefully, depending on the wonderful builders, will be done soon.
Has good ideas, focusing points, positive.
Too many ideas,
Too
too many
ideas,
projects.
But he get excited, but I have to calm him down many times. He's on the right path.
Oh, thank you.
He's on the right path. I believe in the equation where never ever to go back to a job.
Yes.
If you do the job, you do it right at the beginning, and that's the end of the story.
How much do you expect the refurb's going to cost one room?
Around 70 grand to redo almost everything. It's time consuming, but it will happen all in good time. So this is good property, good house. It can be done in a very nice way.
Yeah, because obviously you've been here for like 30 years, so you know that I've only been here 2 years. Yes. So a lot of times I might get excited about a property and say, the numbers make sense, let's go get the property, it's a bargain. And he will say, the area's a bit bad.
Always get the bad house in a good area, because the area is the most important part of this business. The house you can do up, and the value will go up. But in a bad area, the value will never go up and will cost you almost the same. Always.
You've been doing the Samuel Lee's training now more. So it was on the market for £145,000. And interestingly, the vendor, the landlord, they bought it 2 years ago for that price. We managed to get it for £125,000. And they were looking for a way out, and they put it on the market and it wasn't really selling. So when we came to them and we were cash buyers, that's how we were able to negotiate, that £20,000 discount. And it gave them a solution because they wanted to move on and they've got other properties. And once done up, once it's all finished, it should be worth somewhere closer to £200,000. So we were quite happy with this one. Yeah, so the idea is it's got to be a HMO because that way we're able to multiply the revenue by instead of getting lots of rent, if we're renting it out as 6 beds, 6 different rooms, we're going to get £450, £500, depending on how much we charge for that room, times by 6, right? So now instead of getting a single set of rent, we've got 6 sets of rents. So you're pushing your revenue and your profit margins up.
I am done now, yeah.
Nearly done. Nearly wants to get off. He needs to go back to the other project.
Because I got the glue on the wall.
Now that we're finished from this property, we're going to go all the way across to Cleethorpes, which is about 10 minutes away. We're going to show you a block of apartments we do there, service accommodation. Yeah, so the beach is literally there, and you cross the road and you come to our block of service accommodation units. So this is the unit, again, self-contained 1-bedroom flat. And then here you've got the living space, all very functional. It's a good unit. We've been operating it now close to 10 months on average. It makes about £600-700 profit per month. Because this property was on the market through a high street letting agent. And they don't tell you who the landlord is because you work through them. And then they talk to the landlord and then they take their management fee, which interestingly is about 12% for doing nothing, right? Since we've taken on this property, they probably haven't even touched this property because we take care of everything. And they charge 12% to the landlord. Now, if we were to take this on for the landlord directly and operate it for him and make him 3x the amount of rent through the model that we're using, we'd only charge 15%, which is only 3% more, but we're doing so much more than a standard letting agent. So the value is definitely there. When you come along and you speak to them about corporate let, rent to rent, all this stuff, it throws them off, and their default gateway is to say, sorry, we don't do that, right? But if you're able to get in with them and you build a good relationship and you tell them about the benefits, because it really makes sense for them and for the landlord, right? i.e. the property is maintained, looked after, your guests are screened, you're making sure you don't have any bad tenants, because if you do get a bad tenant, it's so hard to evict them, as we all know from the Renters Reform Bill, etc. So if you educate them, then really it's a no-brainer for all parties. So this is the second unit that we've got in this building block. You've got the beach just across the road. right, with one of the leading fish and chip restaurants, aka Papa's, at your doorstep. In the summer, it's completely booked, and we're able to push up the nightly rates. This unit makes on average about £800 profit per month. And in the summer, we were doing more than double that. And then if you come through here you've got the bathroom. We managed to convince the landlord to get rid of the previous old yellow tiles. And then here we've got the bedroom. Staging costs on this property off the top of my head were around £3,500. The beautiful thing about this model is that a lot of the work required to get something like this up and running and making money is the work right at the start, which is when you've got the property, you got to stage it, you got to make it nice. Then it's literally very easy. So then it becomes, all automated, and then you start making your money back, right? So the model that we're talking about, the rent-to-rent model, is very scalable. You need to put a lot of effort initially to get the property and stage it. Afterwards, it starts giving you money back, and you can do a second and a third and a fourth property. When I was in Qatar and I was studying and trying to understand about property, I did a course at the time from an American trainer who was talking about this concept called rental arbitrage. And I had no idea what he was talking about, and I was thinking, okay. So I went on YouTube and I'm typing in rental arbitrage, and nothing came up until I found this chubby, enthusiastic guy talking about rent to rent in the UK, and that was Samuel Leeds. I started to understand that there is actually a buzzing property community in the UK. Quit my job and I came back to the UK. I think it was about a week or 10 days later, and that's when I joined the academy, and I'm now part of their network. And if Samuel's watching this video, I'd like to say thank you, because you told me about the Sharia compliant joint venture structure. So many thanks to you for that. And we appreciate all the services you do for us on the academy.